Hey everyone, how you doing this morning? It is Thursday. You know what that means when we bring back Jonathan Twomley. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, and I am headsetless today because I was on so many Zoom calls yesterday that the headset started giving me a headache. So
That's a
I
long set of calls.
so it's been a whole week like that. So
That's
that's what
amazing.
happens when you basically open up your calendar to everybody who wants to talk to you. Just send everybody a Calendly link, and
Yeah.
then you wind up with like a whole week of like nothing but phone calls and your head hurts.
Oh,
So
that's amazing. Well, thank you for keeping this hour for us. We greatly appreciate it on the channel. So let's
I
talk about unemployment. We missed last week. Let's hit that, and then we'll talk about consumers after that. But what'd you see in the unemployment number?
Yeah, so unemployment beat expectations, not by a whole lot, but the trend is in the right direction.
Yeah.
And claims, we're now under 800,000 for the third week in a row, which is good.
Mhm.
Again, you have to remind everybody it's all relative. Like this is good. This is COVID good, not good good. Um,
It's COVID good, not good good. I
COVID
like
good,
that.
yeah, it's COVID good, not good good. But look, I mean, we may see in the next few weeks a new number that is less than the previous record,
Yeah,
right?
I actually read that this morning. I went back and seeked it out because I think we've always been talking like 650, 660, whatever. According to an article I read this morning, the Great Recession peak was actually 695. So we are pretty
Oh,
close to
really?
that with a
Uh,
712. That's what I read this morning.
Yahoo Finance is 665. So
All right.
maybe people are looking at different
Yeah. Even if it's
those.
665, let's just
Yeah.
use that one.
So but anyway, we're inching towards that number, and I think that would be, in a weird way, cause to celebrate when we hit it.
Oh,
We're
for
finally
sure.
back into like,
We've been here
you know,
before. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Finally back into like what we used to think were bad times.
exactly.
Uh,
Normalcy. Yeah.
Normalcy, and that would be great. And I think what's happening now. I think everybody is up on the news, but I mean, listen, we've got uh, vaccinations rolling out. We've got herd immunity. I was actually reading an article this morning that uh, some data scientists believe we're probably at around 40% herd immunity right now
Mm,
between people who got coronavirus and people who have been vaccinated, and uh, and they're starting to really ramp up the rollout of the vaccines. They're talking about, you know, the government just bought 1 million doses from J
100
and
million.
J. Oh, 100
100
million,
million.
sorry, 100 million doses from J and J. I forgot a couple of zeros there,
Yeah,
and
that's only zeros.
yeah, which is great. They're actually talking about vaccinating school children, which would make many of us really happy,
Mhm.
and that would be go a long way towards getting us back to normal. So, I think we're I keep your fingers crossed, but I think we've seen the worst of this,
Yeah.
and we're getting ready to open back up and move forward, which should be great. Plus, now we've got this huge stimulus package, which
Yep.
has passed after many months of talking about it, and Biden's going to sign it imminently, and that is going to pump a whole bunch of money into the
Yeah.
economy, including a lot of unemployment benefits for people who are, as they're, we've talked about before, people are going to slowly be getting rehired. A lot of the businesses are going to take a while to ramp back up, and then there's all the businesses that disappeared, right?
Mhm.
So um, those are going to have to be replaced by new businesses that start up from scratch. Now, fortunately, as we've talked about before, I think, certainly the same in the restaurant industry, you've got a lot of basically restaurants that are they're built out already. You just need somebody to walk in and clean them up and fire up the stoves again
Mhm.
to get going. So hopefully some of that would be fairly rapid. Um, so, keep your
Yeah.
fingers crossed. But I think we're looking at a good summer, and maybe
I agree.
even kind of, if we can get the kids back into school full time in September across the country, that's going to be huge.
Yeah, I think we're standing right at the tail end of the dark tunnel. It's no longer a light, right? A little speck of a light or a big light. I mean, we're right at the end of the tunnel. Again, 712 today was a low print for the
Yeah.
crisis, right? Which is sad.
Yeah.
I think next week we break below 700. Again, let's just put out some good data or good karma, see if that happens. I think we're trending in the right direction. I think the stimulus gets us through the last dark portion. I think the extension of unemployment at $300 out till the summer carries far enough for many.
Yeah.
And I think GDP is up 6, 7, 8% this year in the U.S. So it's a, that's a good year.
Yeah, I
think
mean,
that's where
listen,
we are.
off a low base, like you
Yeah.
say, we're not back to where we are. It's still gonna. I haven't looked recently at what economists are saying about how long it's going to take to get to where we were in, December 2019.
Hmm.
Because we're still, we've still got, as of the latest data, which is a few weeks old, 20 million people altogether still collecting some form of unemployment assistance, whether it's the regular unemployment assistance that you get when you file a new claim, or
Hmm.
if it's extended insurance, insurance, or whether it's from the PUA, the
Hmm.
other
Yeah.
special programs because of COVID. So that's still a lot of people, folks. I mean, that is a huge chunk of the workforce, and it's going to take a while to get all those people back to work. But this is going to help, right? I mean, Disney is reopening. I mean, you've got
Yay.
Disneyland.
Yay.
You got those kinds of venues now that the weather is warming up. There's a lot of things
Hmm.
that can happen outdoors that couldn't happen before,
Yeah.
and so we are. This is going to help a lot.
Yeah. Again, I think 2021 is going to be a good year. I would like to see us hopefully back to the 2019 peak in Q3 or Q4. I think it's this year sometime. We'll see what they have to say. The other thing we didn't get to talk about last week is the job creation in February. That was a big number from last week. I think it
Yeah,
was 246 or 346,
yeah, yeah,
but it was all in the right areas, right? It was hotels and restaurants
right.
based on the numbers I saw. And then they raised up January, right? January was a disappointment at like 49,000 or 46, and they raised it to like 116 or something.
Yeah.
So job creation. Now
It's
we need more than that, right? We got 10 million, but it's again trending correctly.
it's I have to say, it's funny how this can get spun, right? This number, because I saw a headline somewhere, I don't remember where it was, where it was saying like, you know, 346,000 jobs or whatever the number was. I don't remember what the number was. Whatever the number was, jobs created, but they're all low income jobs, and that's terrible. And I was like, yeah, but those are the jobs that were lost, right? I mean, the high income
Yeah.
folks didn't lose their jobs by and large. So this is getting all those people who were in those service jobs back to work. It's not like, this is not like, oh, our economy has like shifted into this low wage economy. I mean, some of
You're
that
right.
has happened, but that's not what this is about. This is about those people who got hit hardest going back to work because their jobs are starting up again,
Mhm.
because with coronavirus receding, it makes it safe for them to go back to work, and it makes then more demand for what they do is happening. And so that's what that's all about. It's not about like, oh, we lost all these high wage jobs and now all these, it's not like all these management consultants are now going to work like at Target in a cashier's line. But that's not what that's all about, right?
Yeah.
This is about those workers from the tourism industry being able to go back to their
Yeah.
jobs in the
Exactly.
tourism industry. So that is good news.
I think it's all good news. Anybody I mean, you can take any metric in economics and spin it however you want, but I think in general, job creation is good. We've got 10 million or 11 million folks still out, and it needs to ramp more. So I think March will be more than February, and I hopefully April more than March. But the big question for me now that we're standing on the precipice of entering the light from a very dark period is, what's the consumer going to do?
Mm,
Right? The consumer is who I follow. Arguably they've got more money in savings than they've ever had collectively. I read somewhere that there's been more credit card debt paid off in the last 12 months than any other time.
yeah, did you see that the average American credit rating has improved
It's
during the
crazy,
recession?
right?
Yeah, it is crazy. But if you think about it, it makes sense. I mean, they haven't, the same opportunity to spend money and go into debt hasn't been there.
Yes,
And
exactly.
yet a lot of people have continued working, and they've got nothing to spend their money on. And a lot of people have gotten a lot of
Yeah, a lot of
unemployment insurance benefits, and they have had nothing to spend the money on either. So uh, that has helped people
pay
bank
down
up
debt. Yeah.
money, you know,
So for me, it's what happens next, right? And part of my question is, okay, we've got a bunch of single family homes. What happens? It's all of the affordability, all kind of affordable product. What happens? I think it goes higher because they're not making anymore. Rents
yeah,
are good, space is good, all of that I think stays. But then what goes on with the consumer, right? Do they take that? Do they take 30% of 1.6 trillion and just go freaking crazy like it's 1999 on experiences and stuff? This is my first pandemic, and I don't know what's coming next.
I do my, again, uninformed, non-economist opinion about it, so take it for what it's worth, is that people have had plenty of opportunity to buy stuff
Okay.
over the last year.
Oh, that's
So
true.
if it can be shipped by Amazon, they've been buying it, right?
Mm.
And I mean, Lord knows we have bought a lot of stuff that we would not have bought
Yeah.
because kids were home with nothing to do, and we bought them stuff to occupy them,
Yeah,
right?
that's a good
So,
point.
and I think a lot of people were in that same position. And I think if you're a younger person and you're single and you don't have kids, a lot of those people probably were buying themselves stuff to entertain themselves too, right? Because they couldn't go out and do the normal things they like to do. I
Mhm.
think there's going to be a big shift in what people are spending their money on as a result of the economy opening up. I think they're
Yeah.
going to buy less stuff because that's not what they need. They probably bought all the stuff they wanted at this point. What they're going to go and do is spend money on all the things they haven't been able to spend money on before. So they're going to go to Disneyland. They're going to go eat in restaurants. They're going to
Yeah.
go to the movies. They're going to go to the theater. They're going to do all the stuff um, that they haven't
They're
been
gonna
able to do.
get out.
They're going to get out, and with the weather warming up too, right? It's kind of like everybody is.
Good point.
It's like winter's over, everybody's free. I mean, here in New York City, it's going to be 65 degrees today.
Nice.
It's like it's gorgeous outside, and uh, you know, there's going to be people who are going to want to go and do stuff again, and tourism will start picking up.
Yeah.
So I think that
And I think
that's where the money.
that's going to help the job picture, because a lot of
Oh, yeah.
that stuff has been shut down, and it's those people that will get jobs back. My guess is there will be some sneaky inflation in there as well, because I think they're going to have to pay them a little bit more to bring them back. Perhaps, I don't know.
There,
But
there might be that. I mean, if they're getting more unemployment benefits, they might have to, you know, sweeten the pot a little bit. Of course, I think you might also. I think states have been pretty relaxed during the pandemic about. Also, just because they're overwhelmed, it's probably a combination of being overwhelmed and two being not really wanting to force the issue. But you're not traditionally you can't get unemployment benefits if you have turned down jobs,
right.
right? You have to be looking and not finding. You can't be like, not looking, and you can't be
Yeah.
looking and saying nah,
Yeah.
So but I think states have either been so overwhelmed with the number of unemployed that they really haven't been able to pursue that, or they're kind of letting it slide a little because they know that it's tough. A lot of people aren't looking because they can't.
They
You know,
can't. They got kids at
can't
home, or
not just that, they
whatever.
can't
Yeah.
find jobs. And if you're in the tourism business, you
Yep.
can't find a job, like say in New York, right? You just can't. So there's no point in even looking. But that's going to change.
Mhm.
So I think that the states may start to
That's a good
once
point.
again enforce those rules, and that'll help with this issue that I think a lot of people have complained about, although I don't really know if it's actually been true. That like, oh, people won't come back to work because they're getting all this unemployment.
Mhm.
I know anecdotally there have been some cases like that. People have complained about how hard it is to hire, but I think that will shift and people will be going back to work. So
Yeah, the good news is I think I think you and I will be talking about unemployment maybe another 4 to 6 weeks, and then it'll be just like we can drop it as a topic. I hope that happens. Thanks, Jonathan.
Well, I mean,
Yep, go ahead.
it's always important for the economy, but yeah, it won't be like the main thing we talk about anymore.
Exactly.
So,
Very cool, man. Thanks.